Aditi will talk about Rabindranath Tagore.
Is it visible, sir?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My topic for today is Rabindranath Tagore. About him. Rabindranath Tagore was born on May 6, 1861, in an affluent joint family in Calcutta. His father, Maharishi Rabindranath Tagore, was a religious reformer, scholar, and leader of Brahmo Samaj, and his mother's name was Shraddha Devi. He was the youngest of the 13 children. He has spent most of his childhood with servants since his mother passed away when he was very young. His home was the hub of literary and theoretical activities. In the 1883, Rabindranath Tagore married Mrinalini Devi Rai Chowdhury. He had 2 sons and 3 daughters. In his childhood, Tagore never really liked school, education with 4 walls. He liked the outside world, the open sky overhead, and the earth under his feet. So he was educated at home by private tutors who taught him various subjects. English was his least favorite subject. His father guided him with Upanishads. Before he turned 18, he had published more than 6,000 lines of verses, along with prose. He became an active member of the Bengal Literary Academy. He established a school named Shantiniketan at Bolpur in Bengal. In Shantiniketan, the teachers took classes under the trees with open sky overhead and green grass under his feet. The Gurukul pattern was followed in the schools. Later, the school became college and then a famous university under the name of Vishwa Bharati. Today, students from different parts of the world come here to study. He died on 7th August 1941, Kolkata. His contributions. Rabindranath Tagore wrote not only poems but also short stories, drama, novels, and essays. He was awarded the world-famous Nobel Prize for Literature for his famous book of poetry called Gitanjali in 1913. The British Crown awarded him the knighthood. However, he returned the award to mark the protest against the inhumane massacre in Jallianwala Bagh. Tagore has 2,230 songs in his collection, which he composed, and they are known as Rabindra Sangeet. He gave us the national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. He also composed the national anthem for Bangladesh, Amar Sonar Bangla. He also wrote the lyrics of Sri Lanka's national anthem. His books include Gitanjali, The Home and the World, The Postmaster, Chokher Bali, Fireflies, etc. Shantiniketan. Located about 158 kilometers northwest of Kolkata in Bengal's rural hinterland, Shantiniketan embodies Rabindranath Tagore's vision of a place of learning that is unfettered by religious and regional barriers. Established in 1863 with the aim of helping education go beyond the confines of the classroom, Shantiniketan grew into a Vishwa Bharati University in 1921, attracting some of the most creative minds in the country. On December 22, 1901, Rabindranath Tagore established an experimental school at Shantiniketan with 5 students, including his eldest son, an equal number of teachers. He originally named it Brahmacharya Ashram in the tradition of the ancient forest hermitages called Tapoban. Tagore wanted his students to feel free despite being in the formal learning environment of the school, because he himself had dropped out of school when he found himself not able to think and feel claustrophobic within the 4 walls of the classroom. His achievements. Rabindranath Tagore won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1931, and Rabindranath was the first Indian to win the Nobel Prize. In 1930, the paintings of Rabindranath Tagore was exhibited in Paris and London. Rabindranath Tagore was the co-founder of Dartington High School in Japan. In Indian Postage Department showed their tribute to Rabindranath Tagore on 7th May 1961 when a stamp was released in the name of Rabindranath Tagore. Indian government, West Bengal government, and many private firms showed respect to Rabindranath Tagore by opening institutions, health centers, and many seva centers worldwide in the name of Rabindranath Tagore. In politics, Rabindranath Tagore was writing at the time when the entire country was thrown into the fever of freedom struggle, and he plunged with deep passion into the struggle. He took in the freedom movements by opening the Swadesh shop, selling only Indian goods and by rejecting the foreign goods. He also composed many patriotic songs, articles, especially during the painful partition of Bengal in 1905. Those songs inspire the youth of the country. Thank you.
Well done, Aditi. Here we have to remember 2-3 points. He was the first recipient of Vishwabharati University Nobel Prize. The Nobel Prize for Gitanjali. Gitanjali was translated into several languages, and particularly in Andhra, about 100 translations have come for Gitanjali. People like Shankarambad Sundaracharya and others, Chalam and all others, they translated Gitanjali. It is in a verse form, 3-verse form, and it is very impressive imagery also is there. And his institution, as Aditi has put it, Vishwabharati, I visited that temple. It is almost like a temple. The education is under the trees. Gurukula system of education has introduced, and it is very, very popular. The Prime Minister of India is the visitor for the university. In the university administration, number 1 is the visitor. He is like almost like a President of India. So Prime Minister is the visitor for Vishwabharati, and there will be a Chancellor, and there will be a Vice Chancellor, and different schools of education are there, and most of them are non-conventional. It is not like the British government education system. Each one can learn any of his arts. Art subjects are also taught there. I attended a conference in 1980 at Shantiniketan. You have to go from Calcutta by train, and it is a very good atmosphere there. And another important thing is, Andhra has a rich contribution along with Tagore. He visited Madanapalli, and he wrote the English version of national anthem at Madanapalli. So there is a plaque now in Madanapalli BT College, Besant Theosophical College, to showcase the English version of national anthem, which Rabindranath Tagore has written. Another important thing is, he was responsible for 2 national anthems, both for Bangladesh as well as Sonar Bangla and India, this national anthem. And people like Gopal Reddy, they studied at Shantiniketan. The system of education itself is very, very, very elaborate system. And it is very famous for the non-conventional type of Gurukula system of education. So well done, Aditi. Now we go to Charan to tell us about P.V. Narasimha Rao.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Open your video.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. My topic is P.V. Narasimha Rao. P.V. Narasimha Rao's full name was Pamula Parthi Venkata Narasimha Rao. He born on 28 June 1921. He was an Indian lawyer and politician who served as the 9th Prime Minister of India from 1991 to 1996. His office
Video open చేయి చరణ్ నీ వీడియో ఓపెన్ చేయి
open చేశాను.
మాకు వినప్ కనపట్టాలి
He
కనపడి
is often referred to as the father of Indian economic reforms. His to the Prime Minister ministership has politically significant in that he was the second holder of this office from a non-Hindi speaking region and the first from South India. He led an important administration overseeing a major economic transformation and several home incidents affecting national security of India. Rao, who held the industries portfolio, was personally responsible for the dismantling of the license Raj. As this came under to the preview of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, reversing the economic policies of Rajiv Gandhi's government, future Prime Ministers Atal Bihar Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh continued the economic reforms policies pioneered by Rao's government. He employed Dr. Manmohan Singh as his finance minister to embark on historic economic transition. With Rao's mandate, Dr. Manmohan Singh launched India's globalization angle of the reforms that implemented the International Monetary Fund IMF policies to rescue the almost bankrupt nation from economic collapse. Rao was also referred to as Chanakya for his ability to steer economic and political legislation through the parliament at a time when he headed a minority government. According to a former foreign minister of Indian, Natwar Singh, unlike Nehru, his knowledge of Sanskrit was profound. Nehru has a temper, PV, and a temperament. His roots were deep in the spiritual and religious soil of India. He did not need to discover India. 11th President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam, described Rao as a patriotic statesman who believed that the nation is bigger than the political system. Kalam acknowledged that Rao in fact asked him to get ready for nuclear tests in 1996, but they were not carried out as government at center got changed due to 1996 general election. The tests were later conducted by Vajpayee-led NDA government. In fact, Rao briefed Vajpayee on nuclear plans. Rao's term as Prime Minister was an eventful one in India's history, besides marking a example shift from the industrializing mixed economic model of Jawaharlal Nehru to a market-driven one. His years as Prime Minister also saw the emergence of Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), a major right-wing party, as an alternative to the Indian National Congress, which had been governing India for most of its post-independence history. Rao's term also saw the destruction of Badri Mosque in Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, when BJP's Kalyan Singh and Chief Minister, which triggered one of the worst Hindu-Muslim riots in country since its independence. Rao died in 2004 of a heart attack in New Delhi. He was cremated in Hyderabad. He was a thinker with the interest in variety of subjects other than politics, such as literature and computer software. He spoke 17 languages, although heavily criticized during his tenure and even sidelined later by his own party. Retrospective evaluations have been kinder, even positioning him as one of the best prime ministers of India in various polls and analysis. His achievements include steering India through the 1991 economic crisis, completing a tenure with a minority government, establishing diplomatic relations and relations with Israel, starting India's Look East policy, rekindling India's nuclear program, defeating the 1994 United Nations resolution against India, effectively handling and crushing insurgency in Punjab through policy against terrorism in Kashmir and opening particular diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Thank you.
Right. Charan, you have done a good analysis of him. Two things which we have to remember when we mention about P.V. Narasimha Rao. He was holding the minority government. There was no majority for Congress at that time when he became the Prime Minister, and he was almost like an accidental Prime Minister. He did not contest. Since Rajiv Gandhi died and elections came and Congress came into power, they nominated him as the Prime Minister. And as Mr. Charan put it, he was the first non-Nehru Prime Minister, that too from Andhra. He was the first Prime Minister from Andhra, and he was responsible for the globalization. He introduced this globalization, and free market was there, and he was responsible for making Manmohan Singh the Prime Minister. He was not at all a politician, Manmohan Singh. He was an economist. He was in the UGC. He brought him as finance minister, and later he became the Prime Minister for 10 years. He ruled for 2 terms, Manmohan Singh. And then all positions P.V. Narasimha Rao enjoyed. He was the law minister in Andhra Pradesh government, and then he became the education minister, and then he became chief minister of Andhra Pradesh. Then he went to Delhi. He became the parliament member, and he was there in almost all the ministries of government of India. He was law minister, he was home minister, he was defense minister. He was responsible for Navodaya schools. In each district, when he became the HRD minister, education minister, he introduced this Navodaya school system, a top class schools in all 460 districts of entire country. And he was responsible for the Panchayat Raj system also, empowering Panchayat Raj by 73 and 74 amendments. The urban municipalities and the panchayats have been empowered, and 3-tier system of government has come into power. As just now our Patro Sabha was telling, it was the brainchild of Rajiv Gandhi, but was implemented during the tenure of P.V. Narasimha Rao. But his funeral was conducted in Hyderabad. It should have been done in Delhi itself, but due to power politics, his body was brought to Hyderabad and he was cremated there. Now we will finally go to Vikram, and he will tell us about the dynamic Prime Minister Modi. Vikram.
Yes, sir.
Open your video and tell.
Yes, sir. Open, sir.
Please.
1 second. Yes, sir. So, can you see me? Hello?
చెప్పయ్యా చెప్పు.
Hello?
వినిపిస్తున్నా చెప్పు.
Sir, yes, sir. Narendra Modi was born in the year 1950 on the date of September 17 in Vadnagar, in a small district in Gujarat. And he is the first Prime Minister to be born after the independence. And remaining all other Prime Ministers are born before the independence, before the date of independence. And in fact, this Prime Minister was born even after the implementation of the Constitution. As we know, sir, on January 26th, we celebrate the Republic Day. But he was born even after that, and he is the youngest Prime Minister. He was the youngest one as of now. And he did his post graduation in political science from nearby college in the Gujarat. And during the Indo-Pak War in the mid 60s, and mid 70s, he wanted to serve the soldiers in the transit at the railway stations. and he joined the Akhila Bharati Vidyarthi Parishad, a student organization, and was involved in some of the anti-corruption movements and some other major-led movements. And he was nominated as the representative of Bharatiya Janata Party, which is popularly known as BJP, in the year of 1987. And he has imbibed the spirit of the nation before self and service to the needy. And he became the chief minister of Gujarat in the year October, in the year 2001, in the month of October. And these are some of the developmental goals which he did as a prime minister. And these he has constructed 11 airports and 1 international airport and 1 extensive railway network and a robust land network. And more than 98% of Gujarat villages are connected to the concrete roads, not the cement roads at all. He transformed the concrete roads, and he announced a special auto port, and he has put some solar panels, and he has increased the amount of solar energy in the contribution of solar energy by Gujarat by a greater percentage. And he has after becoming the prime minister in the year 2015, in the year 2014, has given so many schemes known as Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. They has given so many schemes, and from him we can learn the desire and stability from him, and welfare of the society, and never looking back. And he has to take the risk taking, and he took the risk by implementing the demonetization also. And that's it, sir. Thank you.
Right. Modi is remembered for several things. He was a well-known chief minister in Gujarat. When he ruled the chief ministership for 14 years, he was conducting several welfare activities in the entire Gujarat. Everyone in Gujarat, he was respected, and when he became the prime minister also, he was the first prime minister who directly became without entering into parliament. He never entered parliament before. He was a direct elect in the parliament, and he became the prime minister. And in the second term also, there is an overwhelming majority. And the last 7 years, the schemes introduced by Modi government are well appreciated. And in the entire world also, he is recognized as the best administrator. Vikram has gathered a lot of information, and Modi government has introduced demonetization and several other important events, particularly during this pandemic also. In the country of 130 crores of people, we are able to vaccinate people, and already we have crossed 160 crores of vaccinations in both the semesters. So such a dynamic personality Modi is there, and today almost all the boys, they have presented very well. I appreciate them. Madam, it was a very good session.
Yes, sir. Students are taking part very well, especially in the presentations.
Yeah.
And children, if you are able to share that in the WhatsApp group, others also see me. You must have prepared one particular personality. Your notes will help others also, right? So like that, you can share it in the group itself.
The prelims group, you please send your
post it in the prelims group. It will be useful for the others.
Yeah.
Right. Beautiful presentations also were made. PowerPoint presentations. Each time Aditi and Vishnu, Sneha, everyone trying to do it. That's good. Yeah, it will be there with you. Right. So shall we end the session, sir, here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. This week's, what is your plan? Only Vikram has posted for the previous week. So please start doing it. What you have done it, please post it to me, and what you are going to do in the upcoming week also. You can post it in my personal WhatsApp. Thank you, students.
Bye. Bye.